The Olmecs and the Cascajal Block. On September 15th of 2006, Maria del Carmen Rodriguez Martinez, Ponciano Ortiz Ceballos, and colleagues described the Cascajal Block, a serpentine slab about the size of a writing tablet dated to the early first millennium BCE. The block or slab is incised with characters previously unknown that may represent the earliest writing system in the New World. The block was found amidst certain ceramic shards and clay figurines, and from these the block is dated to the Olmec archaeological culture's San Lorenzo Tenochtitlan phase, which ended right around 900 BCE. Aztec weapons, the atl, a stick the length of a man's arm with a grip at one end and a hook to engage the spear at the other. These spear throwers were called atl in the Nahuatl language of the Aztecs. The leverage of the long atl allowed a thrower to fling a light spear much farther and faster than by hand alone. Tipped with a sharp point of obsidian, bone, or hardened wood, these spears, usually called darts by atlatlists today, were dangerous weapons. The World Atlatl Association is the main organization promoting atlatls today. In the United States, there are more than 70 events with atlatl competitions every year. Aztec weapons, the macuahuitl. Aztec warriors wanted to wound enemy soldiers, not kill them. Why? They needed live human beings to take back to their capital city, Tenochtitlan, to sacrifice to their gods. One of their main weapons in battle was the macuahuitl. It was a long wooden paddle with very sharp pieces of obsidian, volcanic rock, embedded along both sides. A sharpened piece of obsidian can easily cut through a fairly thick piece of animal hide, and reportedly, injuries from this weapon caused wounds that would not heal. Due to its weight, it had to be handled with both hands. The Aztec legend of the volcanoes, Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl. Two volcanoes sit southeast of and not far from Mexico City. They're called Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl. The Aztecs had a legend about these. The legend of Popocatépetl goes as follows. Popocatépetl was an Aztec warrior in love with Princess Iztaccíhuatl. Iztaccíhuatl's father sent Popocatépetl to war in Oaxaca with the promise that Iztaccíhuatl would be his wife if he returned. The father then told his daughter that Popocatépetl died in battle and she died from sadness. When Popocatépetl returned, he killed himself with a knife through the heart. The Aztec gods buried them in snow and then turned the lovers into mountains. Spanish conquistadors and their war dogs. The dogs the Spaniards brought were mostly war dogs. These dogs were strong and ferocious, accompanying their owners in battles. They were usually wearing armor to protect them from enemies and were incredibly valued. The Spaniards depended so much on their war dogs that they trained them to kill. They often had them fast days before a battle to make them more lethal against their enemies. They were also used as a method of torture against Americans, in other words, the indigenous. The war dogs made a pretty big difference in helping Hernán Cortés and his soldiers defeat the Aztecs in various battles. Another important pre-Hispanic civilization was the Zapotecs. The Zapotecs, known as the Cloud People, dwelt in the southern highlands of central Mesoamerica, specifically in the valley of Oaxaca, which they inhabited from the late pre-classic period to the end of the classic period, so 500 BCE to 900 CE. Their capital was first at Monte Alban and then at Mitla. They dominated the southern highlands, spoke a variation of the Oto-Zapotecan language, and profited from trade and cultural links with the Olmec, Teotihuacan, and Maya civilizations. Tomb number 7 from Monte Alban is one of the richest burial sites in pre-Columbian Mesoamerica. It included hundreds of exotic objects made in precious materials. So as you can see on the image on this slide at the top left, there's a gold necklace. The bottom left, zoomorphic pendants. The top middle, Mictlan Tecutli pectoral with elaborate headdress, so it was a ball game pectoral. In the bottom middle is a gold mask, to the right a pendant with dates, and all of these artifacts are in the Museum of the Cultures of Oaxaca in Mexico. Here, workers recently built a replica of the Aztec Templo Mayor with an image of the god Quetzalcoatl on surrounding buildings in Mexico City's main square called the Zócalo. This was a commemoration of the 500th anniversary of the fall of the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan on August 13th, 1521. Mexico's President, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, asked the country's indigenous Mexica peoples for forgiveness for the abuses inflicted on them during the bloody 1521 Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire. López Obrador said, "Today we remember the fall of the great Tenochtitlan, and we apologize to the victims of the catastrophe caused by the Spanish military occupation of Mesoamerica and the territory of the current Mexican Republic." López Obrador has said the Spanish monarchy and Roman Catholic Church should formally apologize for the atrocities committed during the conquest. López Obrador has repeatedly blamed colonial-era abuses when setting out the origins of inequality and corruption in Mexico.